set, Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
Welcome back into the Dynasty Nerds Podcast. I am your host, Garret Price, here with my guy, Andrew Mott. Andrew, how you doing today, man?
Not too bad, man. Every week I'm just going to tell you how I feel, but JJ McCarthy played some pretty good football this week, so I'm feeling pretty good today.
He did play some pretty good football. Rich and I talked about it on the show. I know the Lions defense, especially the secondary, isn't the best,
right,
but still a huge game. Like, this is huge playoff implications. Best team, or at least one of the best teams in your division. Like, that was big for him because I needed to see that baseline. You know, can he operate in the offense? Can he get the ball out on time? Can he, go through his reads? Like, he did a lot of the baseline things that I need to see him to do. Now we can talk about and debate, like, how high or low does he go? But, like, I needed to see, is he an NFL starting quarterback? I think I get it. It's one game, opposite of when it's bad. It's still just one game when it's good. But still, that at least showed me there, okay, I see the baseline that I needed to see.
Yeah, and that's kind of like I've been saying, I just wanted to see this back half when he's healthy, some positive development, just seeing him take some positive steps. And it doesn't have to be perfect every single play, every single quarter. But at the end of the day, like, I just need to see some positive steps. And that's the first of hopefully many in the back half of the year.
Absolutely. Well, today we'll be talking a little JJ McCarthy actually on today's show. We're actually going to be talking about all of the quarterbacks that are current starters for fantasy football purposes. I shouldn't say current starters. Some of them, screw the current guy. We know he's not good for fantasy football, but the main starters, I should say, for fantasy football purposes. So we're going to be ranking them, and I shouldn't say ranking them. That's not the right word. We're going to be putting them into tiers. Now, you and I, this will be an interesting exercise because when you do it solo, you feel pretty good about where you want guys. We could at times be maybe 2 tiers apart on certain players. So I'm curious to see how we go about this. But what I will say for the listener out there, if you're listening in podcast form, this is one that's probably best to go to YouTube and watch it on YouTube because we'll explain where guys are at, but it's going to be kind of hard to see how everybody's put together without the visual there. So I would recommend going to YouTube and then you'll catch that there. We have 6 tiers. We'll see if we need to add any more. I could always add a tier on the fly if I needed to, but it started off with 5. I was like, I feel like I need a 6th tier. So we have 6 tiers that we're going to go through. Andrew and I'll kind of talk together, work as a team to see where we can kind of put these guys, and we'll see how this goes. So, Andrew, anything else before we get into this?
No, it's going to be exciting, I guess, to see where we're at with some of these guys, especially some of the newer names, I think, in Dynasty. Dart, where does he fall right now? Like, where does Drake Maye get to with, like, how he's been performing this year? It's going to be interesting to see how some of these guys go.
All right, so as you can see on your screen, we have all of the starting quarterbacks right now. We've got our 6 tiers, and I think this was originally in alphabetical order based on first name, I'm guessing. But I had to add in some
Aaron,
of the new guys.
Anthony at the top. I think that's where you're at.
I think that's where we're at. So, it'll get thrown off with the last 3 guys because I had to add them in because whoever made the list wasn't anticipating these 3 guys to start the year. But we will get through that. We will work through it, and should be fun. It's hard to start off with, like, kind of not even middling, I guess, lower tier guys. Maybe that's a little easier because middle would be hard to start with, but we get to start with kind of on the lower tier. Let's start with Aaron Rodgers here.
Who says we have to follow structure here, Garrett? We could just pull the guys that we want to pull if we want to.
That's true. I guess, look at me trying to be like too much of a rule follower. We could kind of do whatever we want.
These guys aren't in line. They don't got a ticket. We don't got to get to them in line.
Okay, let's do this. Let's try to get one player for each tier to start, and then we'll go in order because I don't want to do all the S and then all the A and then all the B. Like, let's try to get one guy that we think is like the staple. That doesn't mean they have to be at the top or the bottom of either tier or any of the tiers, but like a solid, steady player for each tier. So I think the first one, Josh Allen.
Yep.
S tier. That's an easy one, right? Okay. So we've got Josh Allen for our S tier. Now we get to the A tier. I have a specific name in mind for the A tier, but I want to hear who you have as kind of like a prototypical A tier player.
I was going to say Patrick Mahomes.
That's what I was going to say too. Look at us thinking of the same name. Okay. So Pat Mahomes, he's been great this year. We know he's been down a little bit over the past couple years, but we know he's still very steady, but a little bit on the older side as well. So kind of have those things combining. Very solid, steady A tier player.
And definitely a player that, like, if you're looking at this tier, you're like, he's the guy at the top of the tier, the guy that I want the most in this tier.
Absolutely. All right. So now we get to the B tier. The B tier is trickier for me. I have a couple guys that off the top of my head, I know that I would not want in the same tier as Mahomes, but I don't think I would want 2 tiers away. So I do have a few names there. Anybody stand out to you as a guy for the B tier?
I have 2 names that kind of came up into my mind where I was like, they may be A tier already, but maybe they're B tier. I'm going to throw them out there. That way you can kind of tell me how you feel about these 2 names specifically. But it was going to be Jaxson Dart and Bo Nix. Those are the 2 names of quarterbacks that I was looking at.
I think Bo Nix is perfect. I'm totally good with Bo Nix. I might have Jaxson Dart in the A tier. It's close for me.
The rushing
upside?
upside?
Depends on how big that tier is.
Yeah. I think it depends too. And I think Bo has an argument with how he's played. I know you're not a big Bo guy, but I think he definitely has an argument in the A tier as well.
I do think there's an argument. I could see that happening. He's had some really good games this year. Really, really good games. But then you look at some of his other games, and they've been really pretty bad games overall that he's played. And not just when they're playing, Houston, one of the best defenses in the NFL. He's had some other games that have been like, what happened there? So he's been a little inconsistent for me to be able to feel like for me, it's S tier. I am like ahead of everybody else in my league, no matter what. A tier, I feel supremely confident week in, week out. B tier, they could fluctuate as a quarterback 1, but they're like bordering on quarterback 1, quarterback 2 for me. It's kind of how I'm picturing it in my brain.
Looking a little bit more at matchups with those guys.
Yeah.
Whereas the first 2 tiers, I don't really care about the matchups. These are just the top guys.
You're playing.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So we've got an A player that's or S tier player, Josh Allen. Then the A tier of Pat Mahomes. B tier, we've got Bo Nix. Now we get to the C tier. I almost want to like throw in a E tier and a D tier before I get to C, because I think that'll be like almost easier.
We could do that. Do you want to take
Russell Wilson? Welcome.
Yeah, I was going to say Russell Wilson, Tyler Shuck. Like I was going to throw one of those guys up there.
Yeah. Welcome to E tier. I'm good with Shuck too, since we're on the same spot. E tier guys that like if they get the start, I will probably play them over a position player, but it's still not guaranteed.
Agreed. I think it's probably like guys that we don't really expect long-term starts from. And if we do get starts from them, we're probably looking to try and move off of them and sell them because we don't believe in them long-term. So that would probably be that. I think D tier though, could we say like Tua?
Man, we are on the same wavelength. That was going to be like the poster child for D tier, where he is the starter, but we don't really know for how long. But I could easily see him getting another job. There's just a lot in flux, and he's shown signs of being a very good quarterback, but we've seen a lot of times where he's been rough, like very rough. So I think he's a good D tier. So that kind of helps level it out a little bit for me. Now we can look at our C tier. For me right now,
I'm interested to hear your name.
I have 2 guys in mind, but I'm trying to figure out if one of them is actually a D tier player and the other's a B tier, because like C's really, really tough for me at the moment.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get a little bit stricter too. Like as we start filling in the rest of the guys, we probably need to be a little bit stricter with like S, A, B, because those are those top guys. And maybe that C to B cutoff has to be pretty definitive.
Severe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was leaning right now Daniel Jones for C tier.
I don't hate Daniel Jones as a C tier because it's enough optimism. He's played well enough, but do we have the long-term security for him? We think it might be coming, but it's not there yet. The other player that I was going to think of there was going to be like CJ Stroud was like the name that came to mind.
I could see that one as well. Kyler was the other one that I was kind of thinking about.
Okay, and then I was kind of thinking about T-Law.
See, that was one of the names, but he
might be D tier.
He might be D tier.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, let's put Daniel Jones in C right now. So you're comfortable with that?
Yeah, I think I'm good with that.
Okay. All right. So we got him in C tier. So we've got kind of our poster child for each tier. We got 2 for E because that one was kind of easy. All right. So now let's just go through and see where we would put guys. So let's go back up to Aaron Rodgers. Is he D or is he E? Because he's currently a starter, but we don't really know for how long. He's not been bad, though, but he's not been great.
It sounds like it's going to be like this year for Rodgers. So for me, I would say because there's not a ton of certainty on how much we're going to get out of him, I'm probably throwing him E tier because I'm viewing him as a guy that we're getting, 7 more starts in fantasy football for. And if I get next year, I feel really lucky.
Right. It doesn't matter, but now I kind of want to put them in semi-order. So
what if we fill it in and then at the end we go through and try and organize the tiers real fast?
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
Cool.
All right. Anthony Richardson, he's E, right? That's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a tough one. What are we doing with Baker?
For me, I'm seeing AB somewhere right there. AB.
Correct.
I kind of lean A for him.
Dude, I love you so much right now because I was about to make an argument for A. I was going to, and I know that there's a lot of people that will have him lower, but I do have him ranked inside my top 10 at quarterback right now. And I don't really worry about the matchups with him. And he's still young enough where I'm not worrying about is he going to retire in 2 years or anything like that? He's still young enough where we're good there. So I have Baker in my A tier. So I'm pretty happy about that. I'm glad we didn't have to throw down right there. Brock Purdy. We've seen him be a quarterback 1 before, and he's usually solid when healthy, but this whole he's been hurt a lot. The offense has been hurt a lot. Just everything's such a mess right now. I think we can safely say he's not in the A tier. Is he a B tier or is he bordering on a C tier?
I think for me, he's a player that I would feel leans a little bit closer towards the top of a C tier. And that's mainly because when I have guys like Bo Nix and probably some other of the names that we're going to end up throwing there in a little bit, I think I feel more comfortable with their upside in Dynasty than I do with Brock Purdy. And that's not to, knock Brock Purdy as a player. Like you said, he's been fine when he's been in the lineup. He's kind of just been this high-end QB2, low-end QB1 most of when he's been the starter. But I don't know. It just feels like there's no more room for growth for Purdy. The offense is only getting worse, I think, over time as Kittle ages. Obviously, guys are leaving. CMC is going to, eventually get to a point where he's not CMC anymore. It feels like the next couple of years for San Francisco are going to be trending in the opposite direction of which we want it to be.
All right. I'll put him in the C tier for now. I'm not sold on that one yet because, we've seen him be as high as, I think he was either quarterback 5 or 6 in 2023. But I get the recency hasn't been great. So that's a tough one for me. This one's pretty easy. We get to Bryce Young here. For me, he's a clear D tier guy. Not a player that I feel comfortable starting.
I'm good with that.
But could have some-ish longevity still. So D tier. So you're cool with that?
Yep, cool with that. And I would like him on my fantasy teams more than those guys below him.
Yeah. All right. Caleb. This one's messy. Caleb's messy.
Is it?
Because I think you could make an argument almost for 3 different tiers.
A through C?
A through C.
Yeah.
I think you could.
My gut initially went B tier. I think he's B tier because I don't have the confidence of a Mahomes level tier, a Baker level tier, but I do see flashes and upside to where yes, he's going to be in the B tier for me right now, but he could move up into the A tier if we get some consistency from his playing. I just think right now he's a player that I cannot put into the C tier because there's too many flashes of excellence, I think, from him and too much upside.
I mean, on a points per game basis, he's averaging almost 20 points. He's very, very young. So I'm good with the B tier. I think when we organize it, he'll be at the tail end of the B tier for me. But I'm good with putting him in the B tier because I don't have him and Brock Purdy super far apart. And if I look at them in, like, if I'm doing a startup right now, it's gonna matter who have I already drafted at quarterback or have I not drafted anybody at quarterback? Because Brock Purdy, I feel a lot safer about overall. But obviously the ceiling is Caleb. So
right.
That's a tough one for me. Speaking of a tough one, I know he's just a rookie, but man, it's really tricky to figure out where to put Cam Ward right now. I kind of feel like we almost have to put him in C just because he's so young. But based on his play, it's definitely more in the D tier.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's gonna get bailed out in this tier list a little bit because of lack of play and lack of NFL experience, and we're gonna be like, well, we haven't seen too much. I agree with you. I think the play on the football field, to be honest, the play on the football field so far has been worse than both Tua and Bryce.
Yeah,
those two guys have played better than him this year. And
who would
it
you
may
draft
be
though, today? Like if you were in a startup and Tua was there, Ward was there, and Bryce Young was there, who would you draft?
I might draft Bryce.
Oh, really? Okay.
I might draft Bryce.
Well, then maybe he does belong in the D tier. I mean, if we would legitimately consider drafting someone else out of him, I think for me it would be Cam Ward. And it's partly because we've had enough time with Bryce. I mean, Bryce Young right now, he's averaging like 12.9 points per game.
Yeah,
like,
it's not great.
It's rough. Tua is averaging better on a points per game basis, but we know health is a big question mark in what's going on with that team. Ward's been really bad.
He's averaging like 8 fantasy
like
points a game or 7 fantasy points a game, something like that. Yeah.
It's bad. But we know there's going to be a new coaching staff coming in. Hopefully that means they're going to be getting some more weapons in that offense. And
I think
I'm
okay to move him into C. Let's throw him into C because there is enough that it's like we can still see more from him, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But it kind of makes me want to move Brock Purdy up to B now that I'm seeing Cam Ward in the same
that's
tier.
The hard part here is he closer to Daniel Jones and Brock Purdy, or is he closer to Tua and Bryce? I'm talking myself into moving him down, I think.
Do we need one more tier in between? Is Cam Ward his own tier right here of the unknown?
I mean, he might be. All right, I'm going to move him to D right now. When we get to the end, let's see if we need to give him his own tier.
Yeah, we can make some adjustments to it at the end when we see it in a whole picture and be like, okay, maybe this guy does need to go up.
Right. CJ Stroud, I think he's pretty cleanly in the C tier.
Yep. I have no debate for that one.
Yeah, which is crazy because 2 years ago, he would have been in the A tier.
Yeah. Some people had him in the S tier, dude.
I remember when he was getting taken 3rd overall, I was like, guys, if you're in a startup right now and you're picking 3rd, 4th, whatever, trade back to pick 11. Trade back to pick 12. Pick up Justin Herbert in the extra draft capital.
Yeah.
Pick up, whoever it is back there in the extra draft capital. Crazy. All right. Dak Prescott, he's another one that feels like C tier to me. Yep. And it's mostly due to age. If he was 27, 28, I would probably put him in the B tier, to be honest. But I don't know that I can at this point. So I think he belongs in the C tier. You good with that?
Yep, safe C tier asset. And I agree. Same thing is because of the age.
Okay. All right, here's a biggie. Drake Maye. Look.
I think I know where you want to throw him.
I hope we don't have to fight, but I'll have the mouse, and he's going to go in the S tier.
I was going to say the A tier, but...
Ow! All right, tell me why the A tier.
I feel like the S tier for me, the way that I'm looking at it is elite fantasy football company. That is like you said, these are the guys that I'm better than everybody else in my league. Nobody else belongs here. These are the top guys. And to me, honestly, if I'm looking at the whole list in the whole NFL, there's only 2 players I think in the NFL that belong in the S tier. It's going to be Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Those are my top 2 in the S tier for fantasy football. And if it's not those 2, you got to go to the A tier. So I think by default, he is not one of those guys yet for me in fantasy. So he's a tier asset. And the S tier is for those elite MVP guys.
Okay, I can listen to that argument because here's where I was going to go. If you're going to put Drake Maye in the A tier, then Jayden Daniels has to go in the A tier as well. And so I think that's going to be the discussion point here is Drake Maye and Jayden Daniels in the S tier, or are they in the A tier? Because I think they have to stay together in my mind because both of them younger assets. Drake Maye obviously younger than Jayden Daniels, even though they're same class. I think there's like 2 years of separation or so there. So Drake May's younger, but I mean, he's putting up 20-point game after 20-point game after 20-point game, and he's doing it without the supporting cast. Now you can make a similar argument for Jayden Daniels now that Terry McLaurin's been hurt and, things like that. But he's doing it without the supporting cast of, some of these other quarterbacks that we have in here.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. I was even going to stick in the class JJ McCarthy and Michael Penix. Like both of those guys, much better supporting cast than what Drake Maye has. So for me right now, like I'll be honest, if I was in a startup, it would go Josh Allen would be the first pick. Drake Maye would be the second pick for me.
Really? You would take him over Lamar?
I would take him. Well, Lamar is 29, 28, 29.
Yeah. I mean, Josh Allen's going to be, I think he's 30, right? Like,
not quite. I think he's 29.
Okay.
But yeah, they're all in a similar age range. And look, it's hard for me to say that because I am the guy that I'm comfortable going into the season with a 33, 34-year-old quarterback. With how long these guys are playing, I am playing overall my team. I care about the next 2 to 3 seasons. That's what I care about. So, it does feel like I'm talking a little bit out of the 2 sides of my mouth, but there has to be some sort of tiebreakers. And if Drake Maye is going to consistently, which that could still be debated, he is young. But if he's going to consistently be putting up in the 20 points per game category right now, he's at like 21.9 or something like that. Like if he's going to constantly be putting up in the 20s at his age, that's a tiebreaker for me. Like that's how 100%. You move ahead. So I think for me, I don't see a scenario at this point in my mind outside of catastrophic injury. I don't see a scenario where this takes a huge dip. Maybe worst case scenario, we're at like 19 and a half or 20, versus being, 21, 22 points. But I mean, when you look at his weapons right now, his best receiver is a 7th round guy in Kayshon Boutte, a guy that's in his early 30s in Stephon Diggs, Pop Douglas. Like, I don't even know that many people know what a Pop Douglas is. Like, like he has no weapons. His offensive line has gotten better because of Will Campbell. I think that's helped. And I think Mike Vrabel being there and what they've done, but they still haven't even figured out their running game. Who's their running back? I hope it's Travion, but I don't know at this point. So for me, like, I just don't know how this gets worse. So for me, like, I can't not put Drake Maye into the S tier, but that leaves us with a conundrum. Then does Jayden Daniels have to follow? Then do we put all of them? I think
that's the argument, right? Because it's like, how big do you want this S tier to be? If S tier is the upper echelon, then we have to have a discussion, because I think if you're throwing Maye in the S tier and you're throwing Daniels in the S tier, I think then Hurts probably belongs in the S tier as well, as a fantasy asset. So that would be about 5 players in the S tier. And then you also have to have a conversation about a healthy Joe Burrow, I think, as well, which maybe just falls into the A tier, but he's
firmly in the A tier for me with all the injuries and stuff.
It starts opening a question for me of like, how big is the S tier? So if we throw Maye in, that S tier is probably going to be 4 or 5 players large.
I'm comfortable with 4. Hurts is a tough one for me. It's weird for me to be on the other side of this because I've been the Hurts apologist with Rich and Matt, because they always want to put him like really far down because of the tush push and all this stuff and whatever.
Well, the fantasy points, I don't care how you score them. If they keep coming into my lineup, then that's what I want.
Yeah, they say it's eventually going to get banned, so he should move down and whatever. But maybe it does. But his points, he only has 3 touchdowns on the tush push this year. Like, it's not like he's getting ungodly amounts. And you can still do normal quarterback sneaks. You could still do those things are not banned. So
he's a capable runner. He can run in those short yardage situations where he gets into the end zone, like things like that.
He has 2 other rushing touchdowns this year that were not from the one tush push. Man, but that's hard. Like, the way I think about it, and Rich does this, and I got to give him credit on this. When I look at my tiers, if I were in a draft, if I were to do 10 drafts, is there any chance that in one of them I would take the other player? And if I feel like there's a chance, like I could see myself in a scenario, maybe taking Lamar. I could see definitely taking Drake Maye easily. I could see myself potentially taking Jayden Daniels. The injury makes it tough, but I could see that. I can't ever see myself taking Jalen Hurts over any of those guys. Could you?
Yeah, I think I could. I could. I guess it just depends. I think he's a player that I might consider Hurts over Daniels potentially in the right situation, but it's close. I definitely, the thing is, like, if I throw Hurts into the next tier with Baker and Mahomes, I'm taking Hurts over those guys probably 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 times.
All right, let's do this. Let's create a new tier. Let's put those 3 guys in their
It's like
tier.
S- or A+.
Yeah. All right, so add a row above. Here you go. We're doing it on the fly. Is it? Did it do it?
You got 2 rows now.
Give me 2. All right, let me delete this one. And then this one needs to be A+. And then we'll make this, I guess now it's going to jack up all the colors, isn't it?
Probably.
I'm gonna have to adjust them all. OCD is going to drive me nuts. I don't know. We'll leave them both orange, whatever. All right. So A+ players. So what we're saying is we're going to put.
It would be Maye, Daniels, Hurts.
I don't think I can hear anybody else in that tier.
Yeah, I think that's it. And then we said Lamar, just throw him in the S tier with Allen.
Right. Okay.
I'm
good with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that too.
Okay, because, I feel like they do not belong in the same tier as Baker and Mahomes and some of those guys. But, okay. All right, so I feel good there. All right, let's get back on track. That took a lot of our time.
27 years or younger at this point, 26 years or younger.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Geno Smith, D, E.
I think the E tier.
I think he's kind of with, I guess he's a slightly younger Rodgers. So
he might have a little bit longer of a leash, but it feels like the inevitable is you will be replaced, Geno.
So Jared Goff's a really tough one for me because I low-key kind of feel like he belongs in the B tier, but he kind of falls in a similar thing as Dak, is like kind of this older quarterback that isn't quite like elite numbers. So I feel like he probably belongs in the C tier.
Yeah, I kind of agree, because if I'm looking at it and I'm like, Purdy and Goff and Dak, these are the same type of players in my opinion. So I definitely would probably put him with those guys.
Okay. All right. Let's hear it for your boy. Where's JJ going?
I think right now he probably belongs in the C tier with those guys, with CJ Stroud and those players. But I love him as a value in that tier. If I'm looking into that tier, I would try and go dip down and grab him for my personal choice. But yeah, I think right now he definitely has to belong in the C tier. We can't put him any higher than that.
All right. I'm glad that that's where we're at, because
he showed more to me though
games,
than
it's tough to give him much more than that. But obviously, he has shown way more already than Cam Ward has shown the entire season.
Yeah, he's shown more than Cam. He's shown more than Bryce Young. And so you like him more than those players, but not enough to be in the Bo Nix or the Caleb Williams tier.
Okay, perfect. I think we're in the same boat. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is, I'm not going to lie, Joe Burrow's tricky for me. I think I'm going A personally,
That's right where I would put him.
I could see an argument for B, though. A guy that is getting older. I think he either is 30 or will be this coming season. So he's getting up there, same age as, I mean, a lot of these guys. We had like 2 really good classes pretty much back to back or within a 3-year stretch. So there's a lot of guys in that 28 to 30-year-old range right now.
Yeah,
but
you're talking about like 2020 through 2024 is like that 4 years. We had a bunch of quarterbacks come in.
Well, I was talking the 18 class with the 2020 class.
Okay.
So Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, all those guys.
Those guys,
yep. 2020, the Jalen Hurts, the Joe Burrow, all those.
Jordan Love is in that class, all that. Yep.
Yep, exactly. Justin Herbert. So that stretch there, we see a lot of these guys that are still not old yet, but are not the young superstars anymore. That's kind of an interesting tier because we have a lot of those guys in that top echelon there. But Joe Flacco, E tier. I think that one's pretty easy.
Yep. Good for a contender, but you don't care about him too much at long term in Dynasty. I would say Jordan Love for me is probably B tier.
I think so too. I want to put him so badly into the A tier, but I think he is B. He's been inconsistent enough to where I can't quite do it.
That's what I was going to say is it feels like when Jordan Love plays well, he plays really well. But then there's games that he has every once in a while, and it's more often than I would like to see them. It's those games like he had last week against Carolina where it's like, what are you doing? Like, there's just too much inconsistency, and it's not too different than what Caleb Williams does. Caleb Williams goes out and gives you these really big spike games and then has a game where you're like, what the hell is Caleb Williams doing? I think Jordan Love does it less often, but it's kind of he kind of does the same thing.
He does. He's like a more refined Caleb Williams.
Yeah, it's the Caleb Williams who got to sit for 2 years behind Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly. All right. Justin Fields, I think this is a perfect D tier player.
Yep.
He's got awesome ceiling. He's exciting, but gosh, you're terrified every time you put him in your starting lineup.
This is an interesting one, I think, with Justin Herbert. I have no debate with the Justin Fields one. I fully agree. But Justin Herbert is an interesting one because I think he could have the argument between A+ and A.
I could see that as well. I could see that. I lean toward A, personally.
That's where I lean as well.
Okay. All right. Let's put him in the A tier. Reason being for me, he's awesome. But this is not an offense that I anticipate being this crazy heavy pass offense long term. I know right now with Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris out, they've thrown the ball more, but still going to have a heavy run dose with this team. And right now he has games where he puts up big numbers, but it's not as consistent as those other guys. It's not like 20 points, 20 points, 20 points, 20 points. It's like 28. And then we get like a 13. And then, like it's a little bit not dipping as low as like Jordan Love and some of those guys. Like the floor is still very solid, but it's not as consistently high as you would like it to be.
Justin Herbert doesn't have the ability, or at least I haven't seen or felt the ramifications of him losing me a week because of his play. That never happens. With Caleb and Jordan Love, their play can lose me a week. They go out and score 6 points, 7 points. Yeah, like those guys can lose me a week because they didn't even score a touchdown or they didn't throw a touchdown that week or whatever it may be. But I think Justin Herbert, he definitely belongs in this tier. I think an argument probably towards the top of this tier too, but we can get towards that once we get everybody in the list.
All right. Let's go to Kyler Murray, and he feels pretty cleanly a C for me.
Yeah, C tier.
There we go. Done and done. All right, let's go to Matthew Stafford. I don't want to put him in the E. I feel like he's too good for E, but the age forces him to be a D because. Yes. Okay,
I agree, and I think it's there's more. It feels like there's a little bit more meat on the bone with Stafford. Like I can get a 2-year window, a 3-year window out of Stafford potentially here. and we know that he's going to be productive, but it doesn't feel like his value is ever going to increase. There's going to be no value insulation with him. He's going to be a strict contender, restricted type of player. You can't have him on every roster. So by default, like you said, he kind of probably belongs lower on the tier list. And that's not an indictment on his play. It's just the situation of which he is right now at his age.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, Michael Penix. He feels way too good for D tier, but I also have a hard time like picturing him with any of the C tier guys.
He hasn't shown me as much as some of the C tier.
Let me throw something out there right now, because I know we were already struggling with Ward a little bit. And honestly, I'm struggling with Kyler in the C tier a little bit. And I look at like Darnold and Trevor Lawrence coming up. Is there a C minus tier?
And it's Cam Ward and Michael Penix. And
yeah.
Now let me ask you, are you throwing JJ McCarthy in that tier too? Or have you seen enough in this short period from McCarthy that the fantasy upside is still there?
I will give him the benefit of the doubt and leave him in the C. Barely. Like the last guy.
Because I would personally leave Kyler and I would leave JJ in the C tier if we made a C minus.
You would leave them both? Okay.
I would leave them
Kyler,
both.
I don't know about, man. I could see them trading him tomorrow, which maybe would be good for him. Like maybe a fresh start would be exactly what he needs.
Isn't the deadline today?
Yeah. So not trading him tomorrow, trading him today. Yeah.
He'd have to be gone.
Like,
he'd be gone by this afternoon.
Yeah. He could.
Yeah.
It's definitely, dude. Wouldn't that be crazy? You never see a quarterback that's actually like a legitimate starter getting traded midseason.
I mean, everything that Jonathan Gannon has said points that that's not happening. He's fully entrenched in Kyler Murray's my starter. Have you seen all those quotes come out?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would be shooketh if something like that happened. But all right, add row below. All right, we've got a C.
But yeah, I definitely don't have an issue with making the C minus tier because I do think Cam Ward deserves to be above those other guys based off the upside. I think Penix is a good player because it doesn't feel like there's a ton of ceiling with Penix, but he does have a safe enough floor and he's young enough that there could still be some improvement here. And maybe there's actually going to be some other guys now that we can plug into that tier as well.
We could. I think traditionally Sam Darnold would fit this tier. But, dude, if I'm honest right now, I am easily taking him over Kyler, and I might even take him over, like, JJ and Stroud. And, like I think he's firmly in the C tier for me.
I have no issues with him being a C tier quarterback.
Okay. All right. So we're going to put him there.
T-Law's this guy that I was talking about could be C minus.
I think he's a C minus for me, too.
Yep.
I think he's in our C minus tier. Yeah, I'm actually sadly comfortable with that. I think just kind of where he belongs.
The play hasn't been there for T-Law, and he has the contract, so I feel like he's going to be the quarterback of the future for the next little while with Cohn. But I will say I had him on a couple dynasty rosters over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
In the last 12 to 16 months, I've sold every share of Trevor Lawrence off of my rosters because I don't want to deal with Trevor Lawrence on my rosters anymore. I'm over that.
I'm out. Deuces. All right, Dylan Gabriel. I think that's an easy E tier guy.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, let's get to one of the biggest names, one of the most difficult ones to discuss right now, and that's Jaxson Dart. And
I'll tell you where my heart wants him to go right now.
I think my heart is going to listen to your heart because
A+.
I want him to go in the A.
A+.
Oh, you want to put him in it? Whoa. Okay. All right. I want to hear this because I'm with you ish, but that's tough to say. Like, I'm going to put him above Mahomes. I'm going to put him above Herbert. Like, that's tough.
Why not? Why not? He's a rookie since becoming the starter. He is the quarterback 3 in fantasy points per game. He's put out all of these numbers with Malik Nabors not on the football field. Cam Scatterbo wasn't on the football field last week, and he still produced. They haven't had
Darius because he only played a quarter.
Right. They haven't had Darius Slayton on the football field during this, and Darius Slayton's doing his best, impression of Brian Thomas right now, dropping every football that comes his way. You have all of these players there where it just hasn't been a situation where a rookie quarterback should come in and thrive. And Jaxson Dart has been elite. And I'm not even using that word lightly. He's been elite for fantasy. I think he needs to be up in that tier, and I get it. He's a risky player in the A+ tier because the sample size is small. But sometimes when you see these sample sizes, you got to get in, because if he does this for the rest of the way, Jaxson Dart is going to be entrenched in the A+ tier, and he's going to be impossible to get on a fantasy team.
It's funny because I talked about him on the main show. I was like, the path for Jaxson Dart feels very, very similar to the path of Drake Maye. You know, you get on this team, and there's just nothing there. There's just nothing there. I mean, you think about it last year. They didn't even have – it was PFF's 32nd ranked offensive line. It was, I mean, no pass. And he was still showing signs of like, dude, this dude's really freaking good. Like, he's still making plays. I need to see it a little bit longer, but he looks the exact same. I mean, he's running just like Drake Maye was for 50, 60 yards a game. He's doing whatever he has to, and he makes one or two plays a week that you're like, wow, that was crazy. So as wild as it seems and as hard as it would be for me to pull the trigger over a Mahomes, over a Herbert, I would consider it. Like it would be like, I already have him ahead of Burrow. And him and Baker are very close for me. So it's those guys are 8, 9, 10 for me right now.
So let me ask the question: does Mahomes belong in A+?
That's where it gets hard because I feel like Mahomes and Herbert are somewhat tied together for me, kind of like Drake Maye and Jayden Daniels. Yeah, I feel like it would be hard for me to have one without the other.
Okay, because you said I would take him over Burrow. I think we would probably take Dart over Baker. Yep. It was like I'd have a hard time taking it over Mahomes, and if that's the case, then maybe Mahomes belongs in that tier. I don't know how often, if you were on the clock and you had to decide between, Herbert and Dart, what you would do. Maybe it's team dependent, maybe it's not, but I think right now, looking at him at 22 years old, that's just like the only thing. We talked about these young guys that go out and perform and give you that 20 points per game. That's what Dart's been doing. He's been doing it. And so I feel like he needs to be in the A+.
No, I have no issue with it at all. I thought your debate was going to be between A and B. And I was like, all right, I'm going to fight you on this. Like, we're going to get him in the – and then you're like, no, A+, baby. Move him up. I love it. I absolutely love it. All right. I'm good with that. Let's leave it as it is. I think I'm comfortable with this.
Okay.
All right. So this is Andrew and I's combined tier list. Do we want to like organize it a little bit, or
let's do it? We can do it quickly. We don't have to do it super, in detail. I think Allen over Lamar.
Yep. I'm good with the A+ tier as well. I think that's perfect.
Yeah, I think that's a fine tier too. I would argue, Herbert? I think for me, Herbert, yes, goes there. And I think Baker moves behind Burrow for me.
Ooh, that's tough because I have Baker ahead of Burrow. I'll allow it though. I'll allow it. I have them very close.
I'll owe you one. When we get to something else, I'll owe you one.
I'll cash my IOU in later. All right. I would go Bo Nix last in this tier for me personally.
Okay, I would go Jordan Love last in this tier for me, but I would take Caleb 1. Is that a different order than you would have went?
That's funny. I think it's the complete opposite for me. I think it's Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix for me.
And I would go Caleb, Bo, Love. That's probably the way I would look at it.
Interesting. Okay. All right. You owed me one, so Nix has to go last.
Yeah, you get to put it how you want to this tier.
Yes. Okay. I'm good with Caleb or Love either. Well, I feel a little safer about Love, but you had him third, so I'll balance that out because we had him first and second. So we'll put Caleb first, then Jordan Love second, then Bo Nix.
Cool.
C is going to be the toughest one because it's the largest tier by far.
Okay, so let's just say give me your top 3 or top 4 quarterbacks in this tier, Garrett.
It would probably go Purdy, Goff, The third one is really tough. It would either be Dak or honestly Darnold.
Okay, I would have Purdy, Goff, and Dak towards the top as well. So let's organize those three as the top three in the
Okay.
tier.
Okay.
And I think that's probably how I would do it. You would do it in that order too, Purdy, Goff, Dak?
As long as, yeah. Oh, I thought you meant for the whole thing. I was like, I would definitely move Darnold ahead of Kyler.
Oh, no, I'm just saying for those top three guys. So now we're looking
Yeah,
at a
I'm totally
smaller
good with that.
group of players. And I think when I'm looking at this group here, I'm probably...
On the ceiling, would you take
want
JJ
to
ahead
throw
of
Daniel
CJ?
Jones at the back.
Oh, you're hating on DJ.
I'm not really hating. I don't know. It feels like
As long as I can keep him ahead of Kyler, I'm good.
Okay, that's fine, I guess. I try not to be a Kyler apologist because I've done it before in the past, but I just feel like
It's getting harder.
Talented. It's getting harder for sure. How would you feel, JJ and Stroud? Which one are you taking?
I moved JJ ahead of Stroud, so I would take him ahead.
If this is the order that you wanted in C, I have no issues with that.
I'm good with C.
Okay.
I think Lawrence should be the first guy in C-, right?
Yeah, and I think I'd take Penix over Ward.
I agree with that. Would I take Penix over? Actually, I might take Penix over T-Law. That's close.
I think I'm still going to lean T-Law. I probably shouldn't lean T-Law, but I think I would.
All right, let's leave that. D tier.
Stafford's at the top, yeah?
Yeah.
Just because the production's so different than these other guys.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
And there's job security with Stafford, too, as long as he's healthy.
I think I'm good with this order.
I'm good with that order, too.
Okay. All right. And then E tier, not that it really matters. They all suck.
Probably. I think right now I would probably just move Rodgers to the top of it because of the production.
Okay.
And then I'm fine with
I would probably
Geno.
put Anthony Richardson ahead of Wilson just on the hope and prayer.
I was going to say just throw him out. Throw him back there behind
He
Dylan.
doesn't even get to be on the screen.
Yeah, throw him. No,
There's a rumor that like Sean McVay really likes him and would like bring him in. And like on that rumor alone, I'm like, oh, move him up a little bit.
To be the heir apparent to Stafford.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't have any issues with the E tier, but I think that's kind of how I would look at it and order it too.
Okay. All right. Sounds good, guys. Well, that is our quarterback tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We enjoyed putting this together for you guys. I guarantee there are going to be things that you need to tell us that we got wrong. How dare we put Jaxson Dart that high already? How dare you not put Trevor Lawrence in the C tier? How dare we're going to hear it, but let us hear it. I'm good with that. I want to know why you're upset, where we had these guys wrong. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you're liking and subscribing all of our content. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.